Hafide, welcome to Mariana Express. We are now joined with the new Executive Director for the Commonwealth Ports Authority, Esther. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Thomas.
And we are in your office at the airport, just in case anyone's wondering.
Okay.
But I did want to just catch up with you. You are nearing nearly just a month on the job, so a few weeks.
Yeah.
How's it been so far?
It's been very, very busy. So I've been here since April 14th. And my second week on the job, there was, we had the aerodrome certification workshop. It's an annual event for the airports around the region, so they get together, as well as stakeholders from the federal government, from FAA. So it was a pretty big conference. So that was very busy, but it was a great time for me, perfect opportunity for me to get to know the different airport managers from our region, Guam, the FSM, Palau, and Marshall Islands, as well as American Samoa. So a lot of learnings from there, a lot of networking started. So it's been very busy. Every day there's something new that comes up, and you know, it's very challenging times for CPA. So I think it's just getting my feet wet and just you know, doing the best that I can.
And speaking of those challenging times, someone might look at this, our circumstance, and say, I don't want any part of it. But you raised your hand for the job. Why did you want this job?
That's a good question. And I see it as a challenge and also an opportunity to do something. I do have, you know, my background in government. I spent 21 years in the government before going over to DFS for 13 years. So I know that I had, you know, the foundation for that, to do something positive. It's not easy to go into something, and as you say, people normally shy away from that, but it's a challenge that I was willing to take, you know, to take the risk and see what I can do.
And one thing I did want to point out is I learned you're the second female to be CPA Executive Director in NMI history.
Yes, I believe I am.
And another part of history that I think is really remarkable as well is that you are the Executive Director at the airport that your father, or the first Lieutenant Governor of the CNMI, Francisco C. Ada,
Yes.
helped build. And so, I mean, what does that mean to you? I mean, you drive into work and your dad's name is on the sign.
Yeah, every day I pass by his sign, right, and it's just like, hey, Dad, today's another day. I'll give it all. So yes, my dad, he was, just to give a little bit of history, maybe not a lot of people know the history behind it, and then coming from a personal perspective, because he is my dad. So he was the district administrator during the TT times, and he saw that economic growth for the Mariana Islands really depended on an airport that was modern, that could, you know, increase flights into the CNMI. And when we were young, I remember that it used to be at the Coblerville Airfield, and it was a Quonset building terminal, and whenever the Continental Air Micronesia lands, there's a fire truck that goes behind it, right? So not really ideal for a developing island. So my dad was instrumental in working with federal agencies and with the Trust Territory government to relocate the airport here, and work together with a consultant to help him, you know, guide him to develop the airport, and also work with other stakeholders, grants to build the airport. So I remembered when the inauguration of this airport back in 1976, he was very happy, very proud, and it is his legacy. You know, he leaves it to the people. So it is kind of surreal to be here, and more of a personal level, you know, I wanted to succeed and continue to progress forward into the future.
Right, and so in many ways maintaining his legacy as well.
Yeah, maintaining his legacy, yes.
All right, and back to today, there's a lot in the news. You're no stranger to it right now. One of the things that was pointed out to me by one of the staff here was that CPA is, we're chatting right now on Austerity Monday. So
Yes.
the CPA is still operating on austerity.
Yes, CPA is still on austerity. So every other Monday, we don't work, or the staff doesn't work, and that's because of CPA is an autonomous agency, and it is self-sustaining from the revenues that it generates from the airlines, or even leasing out some of its property rights. So when those flights are not coming in, then our revenues go down, right? So hence the need to maintain austerity, even though other agencies are out of austerity as well.
Yeah, I know my follow-up would be when do you see us getting out of that? But we just learned some news, right, that Hong Kong Airlines is temporarily going to be pulling out. Can you just give us the rundown of this summer? What airlines will remain? Who's temporarily pulling out? What's the landscape right now?
Not very good. As you know, there has to be a demand, and there are other external factors that have led to this decrease in flights, right? So Hong Kong Airlines, basically, they service a lot of, or their passengers come from China. So they go through the EVS TAP program, and right now there are some challenges in getting those approved timely. So it is affecting their passenger lifts. So they've informed us that they've canceled through June 16th. Hopefully they'll come back once the EVS TAP is resolved. And T-Way has also announced some of, I think during low periods, they will suspend flights during those times. So that's very challenging, right, for the airport and, for the CNMI as a whole, as we will not see too many tourists coming in. So it is a challenge for not only CPA, but NVA, and I think the CNMI as a whole to come together really and work on a plan to not only create that demand for Saipan versus the other destinations, but also look at how CPA can work with the different stakeholders to entice airlines to come back, right?
Right. And I do want to talk about what you said about enticing airlines to come back, because, the regular conversation we hear is always about incentives, right? Provide incentive. Mm-hmm. But like you said, the demand has to be there. So what does that really look like in your first few weeks in this role? What kind of conversations are you hearing about how to bring airlines here? Not in a few years, but today, right?
Yeah, today. Well, it requires working with travel agencies, or for passengers to come in. So they have to want to come here to choose Saipan, or the CNMI Saipan, mostly to as a tourist destination or to vacation. That has to also it requires marketing, right, for passengers to come in, and then work together hand in hand with the airlines to have the capacity, the flights for them to come in.
And EVS TAP, just to follow up on that point, much of the holdup is on the federal government side. Can you explain that to folks? Because I know that there was a letter between the legislature and the executive branch. Is the ball in the CNMI's court right now, or what exactly are we waiting for?
My understanding is there's like a stall in the approval process, so they're not being approved timely for passengers to come here. So I believe that's where the holdup is, and I believe that there wasn't much explanation as to the reason why, and I think that's the reason why the central government, Congresswoman Hines, is trying to get to the bottom as to why all of a sudden there's a stall or a delay in the approval process.
All right, I wanted to just ask about Rhoda and Tinian now, and part of that is inter-island service. I think we were on the same flight, right, to Rhoda for Max. When it comes to inter-island service, I know now there's a little bit of competition, and I know there's disputes over landing fees and things of that nature. So what's the approach there to creating more air travel for Tinian and Rhoda residents?
I think Tinian, so Max entered just a couple of weeks ago with the inaugural flight to Rhoda. So that gives the residents or the people more alternatives to that, right? So it looks promising between that and of course Star Marianas continues to service Tinian as well as Rhoda. They do have a couple of flights, daily flights. And I believe Max may, in the future, have plans to move into the Tinian market as well.
All right. And have you had a conversation with Star Marianas about the ongoing long disputes?
No, it is under litigation, right?
Right.
So hopefully we'll be able to resolve the issues that they have with the landing fees and all the other stuff that are in litigation. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And in terms of infrastructure, what projects are currently ongoing, or what are you tracking in terms of improving the airports on Rhoda, Tinian, and Saipan?
There are several projects that are funded through FAA that are ongoing. There is a project to rehabilitate the runway. As you know, the commuter terminal is actually nearing. It's just waiting a punch list. So hopefully that will open the commuter terminal here, and that will really benefit the services between Tinian and Rhoda. So there's quite a bit that are either being under construction already or under the planning phase. But most of our CIP projects are funded through FAA.
All right, that's all the questions I had. Thanks for your time. I know it's just been a few weeks, so I appreciate you being open to the interview. Is there anything else you want to let the community know as you continue on this role as executive director?
No, I think we'll do the best that we can to address some of the concerns or the challenges. So I'm ready and committed to working towards that.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tomas.